So apparently that dragon I talked about in the earlier video today is watching me again. Is tuning in and watching me broadcast this afternoon, which is, if you had told me last year, in the year 2000, you'll be a YouTube personality and dragons will be watching you. I would just be like, I would have been speechless. I would probably said, you need to put that pot bill down and go have some lobster. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is LALATE, and boy, what an exciting night for me, you, your cat, your dog, your lobster, and your dragon. As a second stimulus vote and deadline to get the check in your hand is literally upon us with an incredible path to clarity as to what's going on. Stuff you're never going to hear anywhere else except on this channel. I broke it on Afternoons at LA, and I have more details tonight. This is a world exclusive. You're not going to hear it on any other channel. The date on which you would possibly get the check, October 11th. The deadline in which the president would have to sign it into law, October 1st. And the date at which the Senate and House would vote on it at latest, October 29th and October 30th. Excuse me, September 29th and September 30th. This is incredibly shocking details about a possible timeline to get the check in your physical hands, to get rent relief, to get FPUC, and to get your purple power winning over the finish line. If there was ever a time to subscribe to this channel, this is the channel you should be singularly watching. We're now the most watched stimulus channel in the world. We're doing incredible viewership because of you. And if you're not part of this, if you've not subscribed before, please do it tonight. Go to the front of this channel and subscribe and drop your comments below. And also like this video. It really helps in the algorithm. We're currently at 3.5 hours of programming. Evenings LA has 1 hour of programming. Right after this is that blockbuster special everyone's loving every night. Purple Power comes back again right after this. 30 minutes. Purple Power versus Nancy Pelosi. Big shocking developments and what you should be in store for next week. And in the context of what she's been saying today, oh my God, someone give her some $12 ice cream. Just like enough already. But boy, there's no other place where you're going to hear these details tonight. So I'm glad that you're part of this community. 262,000 subscribers tonight. The purple power is with you. Let's get to the details right now. The details are that the Republicans and Democrats have broken and have decided to do a vote. They have all gone on the record, talked publicly on print and broadcast news media since Thursday that they're calling for a vote on a second stimulus package next week. I detailed that to you last night in the show. Tonight, I'm detailing to you more about what I explained just an hour, 2 hours earlier on Afternoons LA, that there's a timeline, a path to get this check potentially in your hand. Now, this is not a confirmed path. Let's give you a few pre-warnings before we start. First, Congress has lied to us before. They could lie to us again. They say they're going to vote on it next week. They could have lied once again to us. Second, this is a path that is presumed to be apparent because of comments from the White House and the airline industry. But things could still go off the tracks. This is why you're so important. Third, I'm reporting to you when things could potentially happen. These are not confirmed dates. And finally, fourth, this is the first time we have ever heard anything of such incredible great news until tonight. The details are the following. There's a big new deadline timeline at issue that has never existed before in the second stimulus discussion until tonight and this afternoon, and that is October 1st. A second stimulus package has to be signed by the president on October 1st. If not, one of the U.S.'s biggest industries will potentially collapse. That industry is the airline industry. There is one backup to that situation, and it's not a backup you want to have happen. It's a bad situation, and I'm going to explain to you right off the bat. This is not the scenario you want it to happen, that the president goes by executive order for the airlines. Oh, my God, you just don't want that to happen. And so far, no one's saying that's going to happen, at least in the last few days. Let me give you the incredible good details. The incredible good details is that the Democrats, the Republicans, and the White House are all saying we're going to do a second stimulus package vote next week, and we're going to put airlines in it. Why is this so important? Because the airlines needed to be signed by the president on October 1st. The airlines have a strict federal criminally prosecutable deadline, and that's October 1st. They can't mess around with this deadline. It has to be done by that date. And because of that deadline, more about that in a second, because of that deadline, the entire second stimulus package has to be in the hands of the president and ready to be signed on October 1st. You with me so far? Okay, so what does that mean for everything before that date? And I had a really good set of questions earlier on Afternoons LA, and I'm going to answer them right now. That means the latest is that the House would have to vote on the bill the day before, which is September 30th, and the Senate would vote on the bill the day before that, which is September 29th. There's 30 days in September, not 31 unless you're Larry Kudlow. So one of the comments I got in an earlier video was, does that mean they can't start voting on it next week? No, they could absolutely, totally vote on everything next week. I'm just telling you the final day that they have to get these things to vote. Now, these are congressional people. They're just lazy as hell. They move very slowly. So I'm giving you the final day. Hey, if we can get it done next week, that's fine by me. So repeat, the Senate would have to vote on it by September 29th. The House would have to vote on it by September 30th, and the president would sign it the next day, October 1st. If that happens, based upon the routing times of what Steve Mnuchin has represented to us, who is Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump, who's in charge of the IRS and the routing out of checks, that the IRS would get you checks 10 days thereafter in your physical hand, well, your electronic hand, in your bank account if you're set up for direct deposit electronic payments for SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and railroad benefits. Also, if you're set up for anything electronically for purposes of IRS, like you pay your annual taxes electronically, you would also be teed up for that 10-day timeline. Again, that's what Meadows was representing. And yeah, he's, changed his story before, but that's what he's representing. And I've seen third-party reports that say the IRS can get it to you in 10 days. Paper checks about a week later. So you could have your check by October 11th if this happens. I'm not telling you will have it on October 11th. I'm telling you could have it by October 11th if this happens. Why is this incredibly great news? Because Republicans and Democrats see a real problem, and the problem is that they can't go into the fall polls. They cannot go into the fall polls because of you. Seats for stimulus, because of you. Purple power, because of you. The incredible pressure you have put on these elected officials have now seen your tweets. When you have an account, a Twitter account that has maybe anything less than about 500,000 followers, you see tweets. You're not so big an account that you just don't see tweets. You see tweets, and they have seen your tweets, and they are scared to death. They have literally gone on the record saying, hey, we can't risk this. We cannot risk this. And they're literally breaking rank. More about how they're breaking rank in a second. So what's happening is the following, and I know you have a lot of questions. Let me get to them right now. What is the bill? How much is the bill? What are the provisions of the bill? What day would they vote on it? Let me get all that right now. What is the bill? Most of the senators and House representatives, Republicans and Democrats, say the bill will be starting with the problem solvers bill and ramped up. That's the first thing. Second, what are the provisions? Well, the provisions are everything that I've discussed with you about the problem solvers bill, and airlines put in, and maybe additional money for certain things put on top of that. What is the routing time? Well, the routing time is they're reconvening tomorrow, and they have until those days to get the votes. Senate, September 30th. Senate, September 29th. House, September 30th. President, October 1st. Why is there this deadline? And what are you talking about, LA? And why does this have something to do with my checks? The reason why is because your checks are in a package. They are not in a standalone bill. Despite how many attempts we try to get them extracted, they are still in a package. And that package does not have airlines in it. But Republicans and Democrats have come out, Nancy Pelosi and Mark Meadows have come out and said, we need to add airlines into this. We have to bail out the airlines. Why? Because of this letter, which I'm going to go over in a second. The letter says we need the bailout. So by putting a airline addition to the stimulus package that has a October 1st deadline, it suddenly makes the entire package have a deadline of October 1st. Which for you is insanely great because no one has seen a sense of urgency that you and I know you have a sense of urgency because of your bills, because of your home, because of your rent, because of your food. You have a sense of urgency. They've never seen the sense of urgency. Now, a bunch of rich airline executives with billion-dollar companies, they have an urgency, so suddenly you're anchored on their urgency. Bottom line is, who cares so long as you get your darn checks and you get your unemployment benefits. So now let me get to why there is that sense of urgency just briefly. The reason why is federal law. The reason is via federal law. The airlines have notified tens of thousands of employees months ago that they are going to either fire them or hire them based upon a furlough status. The federal law requires them to make a decision, and that decision has to be made by October 1st. They're 80% down, the airlines, on year-to-date earnings and cannot afford to keep them on staff unless they get a bailout. About $25 billion bailout. And so they said, give us the bailout. And here's a letter from Scott Kirby to Mnuchin, McCarthy, Schumer, Pelosi, McConnell. On behalf of the 87,000 aviation professionals of United Airlines, we're joining forces to respectfully urge that we need payroll protection program, payroll support program for airline employees. We need this beginning October 1st. Continue the critical program will prevent the furloughs and provide additional industry relief during this recovery. The remainder of the third quarter 2020, we expect passenger demand to be down over 70% and revenue down 85% from 2019. This is despite the fact that we continue to serve 99% of U.S. markets unchanged as we were during the pandemic. So what does this mean then is you have an October 1st deadline. All right, so now let's talk about the provisions of the second stimulus package and everything you need to know. Remember, this channel came to existence on April 25th. I covered on the very first day of this channel PPP, PUA, EIDL loans, EIDL grants. I did not cover stimulus checks. All those things are in this package. They're all coming back. The only thing that's new that for me, for reporting for you, that I was reporting on April 25th, the very first day I press record on this channel, is a stimulus check. This channel has never been a one-topic channel and is still not a one-topic channel. So I am here to get you everything that's in the stimulus package. I understand if you're tuning in, you're only a stimulus check person, that's fine. But understand I'm here to get people all the money they're entitled to. And I've done a very good job of it. $5 to $25 million I got with this channel in the first few weeks, getting people money under the CARES Act 1 that they had not received, but for the efforts of this channel. So what money could you get under this second stimulus package? First, the stimulus check. $1,200, $2,400 married couple. The problem solvers, sometimes that name just sort of, I forget the name. That problem solvers bill puts the dependents, adult dependents, minor dependents, at $500. I don't agree with that. More about that in a second. I think it should be $1,200. It does not take out for child support. It does not take out for creditors. It does not have a limit on the number of people in the household, and it also pays a second check in March of 2021. More about where I think that should be modified. Next, FPUC. It puts in FPUC 2.0. This is incredibly great news. $450 a week. Insane. 8 weeks of $450 a week. Then 5 weeks of $600 a week. And yeah, there's all the provisions of it. I'm not going to go into the details of it. But those are incredibly great numbers because no Republican has ever given us those numbers until this bill. Is it retroactive? No. Again, that's a provision I don't like. More about that in a second. Third, it has money in there for food. It has money in there for EIDL loan. It does not have money in there for EIDL grant. It has another round of PPP. It has money in there for rent aid. It's insanely good. It has money in it has protections for eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance. It has student debt loan repayment moratorium, meaning you don't have to pay it right now. All that incredible relief that applies to a lot of viewers of this channel. So what should your focus be? Your focus should be hitting social media really hard. I immediately hit it earlier this afternoon when I first debuted the first show at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. I said, here is my image. Seats for stimulus, purple power. I support you problem solvers, but I want to make the following changes. First, second stimulus check. I don't think the dependent should be at $500. I think they should be at $1,200. Second, I don't like the FPUC that it's not retroactive. It should be retroactive. Third, I don't like that there's nothing for EIDL grant. There should be $10,000 EIDL grant in there, and there should be no cap for EIDL loans. As you know, if you've been watching my channel, EIDL has gone under some crazy changes in recent days, and now there's a cap on the loan amount, which is just insane. Shouldn't be there. Finally, those are the provisions I see at issue. If you see provisions that you want to have change, you certainly jump in the discussion as well. Where then are we tonight? Where we are tonight is you have this is Sunday. So the 29th, I think, is a week from tomorrow. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday, not next week, but the week after. You absolutely have about a 7-day window to hit this really hard. Social media, Twitter, Facebook, calls, emails, anything. You need to say, listen, I support the problem solvers. I support the problem solvers bills. But here are the things that I would change if you want to change some things. Like I just said, FPUC should be retroactive, stimulus checks, the dependents should be at $1,200, but get the vote done and get it done. And I'm behind you. Your efforts last week is why we got to here, and you should be very proud of yourself. Your efforts to tell Republicans and Democrats, hey, think for yourself, be your own person, have a spine. Have a backbone. Think for yourself. Don't have one person determine the entire fate of your entire party. Go do what needs to be done, which is give us a stimulus package. That worked. If you did not watch Mornings at LALATE, I had two elected officials from North Carolina, which I detailed. Both spoke today. One is Republican, one is Democrat, and they both ostensibly said in private that the bill is going to get approved. They didn't just say that the bill is going to get voted upon. They said the bill is going to get approved. But I don't want to say that too much. I only said it one time today because I don't want you to sit back and think you don't have to do anything. You do have to do something. That's the power of the purple. You have to hit the social media and say, I support you. Get the vote. Get it done. Because you got a short period of time to get it finalized. We're almost at the finish line. We have gotten through this so far, and we're almost to the end. Finally, if you tune into the next video right after this, I'm going to go into this in more detail, but I just want to give you a tidbit right now. As you start the next week, these are a couple things I want you to think about. I don't want you to do the following. 1, ever say the following sentence, I'll believe it when it's in my bank account. Because that means you're not going to do anything and you just put your feet up and wait for a check to land. And I got to tell you, it'll never land. Because those type of people never get anything. They just sit around and expect things to be given to them and that everyone's doing everything properly. Do you see how Congress has treated us like a bunch of schmucks? Do you see how horrible Congress has been treating us? We've turned this around because of our efforts. Had we just done nothing, this would have just literally, gone to 3 more years of never seen anything. So that's why we don't do that type of negativity. Other thing we just don't do is we don't say one person said this. And you know what I'm saying. Nancy says this. Nancy on Monday is going to say something. Nancy on Tuesday is going to say something. Nancy on Wednesday is going to say something. Don't drop in the comments, I just heard Nancy said something. I just heard Nancy won't allow. You know what? We don't talk about that on this channel because she is now a non-factor. She has now become a non-factor for her own party, which has broken from her and said, no, I'm up for re-election. You're up for retirement. You've already privately said you're going to retire. I'm up for re-election, and I'm going to get fried by my competitor. As an incumbent, I'm going to get fried because I've done nothing. Saying that I did something in May, which never became a law, is just not effective. So that's more of what the purple power is, really keeping positive, keeping focused, not having one person tell us what to do, doing something, using our knowledge, and getting to the finish line. And that special is coming up next. I really appreciate you joining me for this evening. And know it's a lot of stuff to digest, but go to the Frontage channel and subscribe. This is an incredible community of people who have it together and are getting to the finish line together. And also like this video. And you've been doing a great job of liking videos. We're dominating everything across the space. So let's keep on doing it. Coming up next is that special, Purple Power versus Pelosi. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused, and stay LA for more.